Tonight on KGW News, closure after tragedy. Friends and family remember a Longview mother who went missing more than a year ago.
We're going to continue to yell her name as loud as we can and share her story.
Plus, a health concern growing in Oregon after a person is hospitalized with the measles.
It's very likely that those unvaccinated people who live with someone with measles will get measles as well.
And focusing on Portland's outlook with Mayor Keith Wilson painting an optimistic picture.
I refuse to put the brakes on our recovery. I refuse to delay our renaissance.
Then later, how local businesses are trying to find a way forward now that we know the day the Lloyd Center Mall will close.
So many people want to move in this place to keep it open. Businesses want to come in, but it's just not going to happen now.
Thanks for joining us here at 11. I'm Christine Pitawanich. Tonight, remembering a Longview mother after investigators discovered her remains in Cowlitz County this week. Her cause of death, still a mystery. This evening, Alma McCarty attended a vigil to honor her life.
She was so full of life. She had so much to look forward to.
At a Longview Park Friday night.
Just remember the last smile you seen on Haley's face, and the last hug you got off her. And hang on to that.
Memories of Haley Athay shared by friends and loved ones.
We love you, Haley. Now we fight for justice.
She was far from perfect, but she was a good person, and she had a good heart, and she had friends, and she had family, and she had children, and she still had a whole life to live.
Haley's mother, Nicole Brooks, says after a year and a half of not knowing, there's relief in finding her and bringing her home.
I guess the best way I could put it today is that she's not lost in the woods anymore.
Hikers came across some of the remains in the Rose Valley area in a spot already identified by detectives as an area of interest in Haley's disappearance. Despite prior searches in the woods, no evidence was found until this week.
Cowlitz County officials then found nearly complete skeletal remains, clothing, and personal belongings. The next day, the coroner confirmed they belong to the 33-year-old, missing since November 2024.
Now that she's home, we're going to shift our focus to getting justice.
The sheriff's office says a forensic anthropologist will determine cause of death. And right now, the case remains an active investigation.
They will be inspecting her bones for any man-made injuries. They'll be doing a full examination.
Brooks believes this wasn't an accident and that someone should be held accountable for the loss of her daughter.
Somebody took her to the woods. They left her in November in freezing temperatures, unprepared. No parent should have to bury their child. And still, I want to ask him why. Why would you do that to somebody? Who does that to a human being?
In Cowlitz County, Alma McCarty, KGW News.
Just heartbreaking. To closing arguments today in a trial of a man accused of shooting another man outside the Portland Islamic School. A warning, we'll be showing you video evidence that may be difficult to watch. The case dates back to October of 2024. That is when two dads had a confrontation outside the Islamic School of Portland, located on Southwest Capitol Highway. Jurors saw this surveillance footage today. The man walking up to the car is Michael Zakarne, the eventual victim. Sitting in a sedan is Noradine Deeb, the defendant. Investigators say the two men start talking, and moments later, Deeb pulls out a gun and fires 2 shots. Deeb is now facing charges, including attempted murder. The defense argues Deeb feared for his life and fired to protect himself.
He pulls it out where he sees Zakarne's hand moving in the midsection. He wanted to push him back. He did not want to kill him. He was using the force reasonably necessary under the circumstances to defend himself.
When a person shoots at somebody, not just once, but multiple times, that is a clear effort to end a person's life.
Jurors will now decide whether Deeb was justified in the shooting. Taking a step outside on this Friday night, we are getting a live look from our Rose City Skycam as we get ready for a nice weekend ahead. Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino here now with a first look at your weather impact forecast. Happy Friday, Matt.
Hey, Christine, you too. It really is a nice Friday night. Not nearly as cold as the last couple of nights. We're sitting at 50 degrees right now after making it up to 60 We're at 43 in Hillsborough, 45 in Scappoose, so it's cooling off once you get away from the urban core. 46 in Tillamook and 43 down in Newport at the moment. We're running about 1 to 3 degrees warmer than this time last night. Quite a bit warmer in McMinnville, 6 degrees warmer, so nice to see that. However, there are still some frost advisories to talk about. The Hood River Valley and then also down the Willamette Valley from Corvallis to Monroe, Brownsville, Lebanon, and up to North Albany. These areas will get down to about 35 or 36, so frost is likely in those two regions. But for the Portland area, your garden should be okay tonight and tomorrow. Everybody will be soaking up the sunshine, more and more of it. Some clouds in the morning, then becoming mainly sunny. And look at that. We busted up to 72 tomorrow. So from well below average to well above average in just 2 days. And the sunset tonight was 8 o'clock. Tomorrow night, 8:01 as we get into these post 8 p.m. sunsets. So we're going to have a great weekend. I'll let you know what comes after that, Christine, in a bit.
Loving the longer days. Thank you, Matt.
You bet.
Well, let's get you caught up now on tonight's other headlines. We've got a health alert tonight as Oregon sees its first measles hospitalization of the year. That person has since been released. Oregon health officials say in 2026, there have now been 20 reported cases in the state, with Oregon seeing its first non-household outbreak this year, spreading between Multnomah and Clackamas counties. They say that indicates wider community transmission. If you think you may have been exposed or are unsure about your vaccination status, health officials want you to talk to your doctor. Portland police are looking for a driver who hit and killed a pedestrian late Thursday night. It happened on Northeast 148th Avenue near Siskiyou Court just before 11 o'clock. The male pedestrian had already died when emergency responders arrived. If you have any information about what happened, contact Portland Police. And a judge sentenced a Salem man to 25 years in prison for kidnapping an 11-year-old girl with autism. Investigators say in August of last year, 49-year-old Elijah Athay lured the girl away from her Northeast Salem home. He took her to a secluded area near the Salem Fairgrounds, where investigators say he sexually abused her and tried to rape her. Police rescued her and arrested Athay less than an hour later after a neighbor spotted the pair and flagged down officers. Athay will have to register as a sex offender and will be on supervision for life after his release. Let's talk about Portland for a moment. A lot has happened in the city over the last year, and tonight, Mayor Keith Wilson looked back and shared his hopes for the future in his second State of the City address. Catherine Cook was there and joins us now with some of the highlights. Catherine.
And Christine, the mayor really celebrated the progress Portland has made. He also got big cheers over how the city handled federal challenges on a national stage. But there were also reality checks, like the city's looming budget crisis and other persisting problems.
Ahead of Mayor Keith Wilson's State of the City address, Portlanders offered their top concerns around the state of the city.
I'd say my biggest concern, which is probably a lot of people's concern, is the amount of homelessness we see in the city.
The homeless situation.
Rejuvenating downtown so that there is a center city is a huge concern.
To show Portland is on its way, Wilson tapped into this recently restored visual aid.
Take the Thompson Elk. In a triumphant return, the statue now has become a symbol of renewal and promise of a better future for our city.
Symbols are one thing, tangible change another. Wilson cited that in meeting his goal of opening 1,500 overnight shelter beds across the city.
We cannot afford to return to an era where we found death in tents or under tarps, behind dumpsters and beneath bridges.
On Monday, Wilson will release his proposed budget. It'll include a $160 million shortfall, which he called a chasm. He said the deficit would not mean closing any fire stations, parks, or community centers, and noted every police officer would keep their job.
I refuse to put the brakes on our recovery. I refuse to delay our renaissance.
The mayor also took a victory lap of sorts around how the city weathered this ice storm. He criticized how federal agents tear-gassed protesters near the ice building, including kids, and sent then Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem to the Rose City.
She got inflatable animals, naked bike rides, and a public that laughed at her lies and told her to go home. Kristi Noem is long gone. Portland is still here, and we are stronger than ever.
Looking ahead to next month's Rose Festival, the mayor said he has invited 240 Oregon mayors to walk with him in this year's parade. He said so far 49 have said they would. Christine.
Yeah, the Rose Festival, a tradition for more than 100 years. We'll see how many more accept the invitation.